Finest actors in Hollywood, with an Oscar to prove it. Intelligent, well-read, even charming and generous when it suits him. But let's be honest, Russell Crowe can also be a bit of a pain in the neck. He's volatile, combative, and menacing too. He says what he thinks, even if it gets him into trouble. And more often than not, it does. Maybe it's that complexity that helps make him such a good actor. It's certainly what makes him such a difficult man to interview. So here's Rusty at his best, or worst, just itching for a stoush with Steve Croft, ready to give everyone a spray.
This is not your favorite thing in the world to do?
No, it's not, because it's very artificial. You know, I can sit here and have a conversation with you, and whatever mood it is that you want it to be is what it's going to be, you know, regardless of what my answers are. And of course, we all know the power of editing, because we have both got careers based on probably the power of editing.
You can control the mood of the interview as much as I can. You know, it depends. I want to
You trying to sell me some shoes now?
No. You've really established yourself as a great actor. I mean, it's been, whether we're talking about Academy Awards or Academy Award nominations, the range of the roles that you've played.
Can I just say thank you when we finish the interview?
No, that's right.
Because it's going really well so far.
What makes you so good at it?
You know, if I thought I was any good at it, I probably wouldn't put as much effort as I do into it, you know?
And that effort's what sets you apart, isn't it? I mean, that effort is what makes you successful.
I think so. Yeah, well, that's the way I see it anyway. I know without that effort I wouldn't be.
And there's going to be more.
He built his career brick by brick with memorable performances and was already a major movie star in Australia when he burst upon the Hollywood scene nearly a decade ago in L.A. Confidential.
Yeah? Well, you think it means getting your picture in the paper? Why don't you go after criminals for a change instead of cops?
Whether he's playing a middle-aged whistleblower in The Insider,
We are in the nicotine delivery business.
a schizophrenic genius in A Beautiful Mind,
Despite my privileged upbringing, I'm actually quite well balanced. I have a chip on both shoulders.
or a gladiator, he always goes the extra mile, even if it involves bruises and fractures, doing his own stunts, or improvising dialogue for his character Maximus with director Ridley Scott. They only had 21 pages of script when they began shooting.
I wanted to come up with a sort of two-word thing that Max would say to people when he left their company, you know, or when he greeted them. And I came up with Forza Aonorum, right? And Ridley standing on the set going, what? Forza Aonorum. He goes, I don't know what the does that mean? And I said, that means strength and honor. And he goes, say that.
Right, rolling.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
It brought him an Oscar, along with a level of celebrity and public scrutiny that he is not comfortable with. He's a perfectionist who demands a lot of himself and everyone around him. He's still upset that his last film, Cinderella Man, underperformed at the box office and blames the studio for the way it was promoted. He calls it his favorite role and wanted an Academy Award nomination and more people to see it.
Do you feel the constant need for approval? Do you get nervous if people aren't showering you with honors?
Not with honors, no. Do I feel in an odd way that there should be some kind of understanding between me and an audience now that if I've done the movie, regardless of the subject matter, you should turn up because it's going to be a good film? I know that's kind of wacky to say that, but yeah, I do feel that. I do feel after, you know, LA Confidential, The Insider, Gladiator, Beautiful Mind, Master and Commander, Cinderella Man, there should be some understanding between me and the audience that, you know, if I've done it, one, I've put a lot of effort into it, and two, there's something about it that'll touch your heart.
But the spontaneity that serves him so well in front of the camera frequently gets him in trouble away from it. He's known for making brash comments and boorish behavior, and he's the first one to admit that he has neither the discipline nor the desire to correct it.
I'm not Machiavellian. I don't play chess with my life, you know? I respond in the moment, which is what makes me a good actor. It makes me sometimes a good interview subject, but it also makes me a very easy target.
What do you think your reputation is?
From a public point of view, you know, it's just some sort of like nightmare presence on a film set, you know, where everything must revolve around me. In the reality, and the reason that I work with the type of directors that I do, is that I'm a 100% reliable lieutenant who is there to serve the needs of the story to the best of his ability. And these two things are completely different. Completely different. You know, so, yeah, so I think my reputation is something that I'll probably try to spend the rest of my life living it down, and it probably won't work. You know, I don't know. I'll just get on and work with the directors who still want to, you know, take the big risk of working with such a madman.
And some of the best seem perfectly willing to do it.
Bring him across, bring him across.
Ridley Scott is finishing up American Gangster, his third film with Crowe.
Have I told you you're a vision?
The second, a romantic comedy called A Good Year, about a tycoon who inherits a vineyard in Provence, is out this week.
Explain Russell Crowe.
How long have you got?
He's complicated.
Well, that's what makes him tick. Russell is complex. And make no mistake about that, usually the best ones are complex, intelligent, you know, take no prisoners. You got to be prepared to go to war with Russell.
When we were doing our interviews, from the first question,
Yeah, that's him.
combative from the very
Yeah.
beginning.
But it's testing the water. He's testing the ice. He's testing the ground. And you got to basically give him as good as he gives you.
One of the things that upsets Crowe the most is the idea of being stereotyped and pigeonholed in the media by reporters who don't really know him.
You can smell it coming from a mile away, mate. You know, when somebody's only asking you questions to put you into a little box so it actually suits what they've already decided in their own mind, you know.
The media label that seems to stick is Hollywood bad boy. But what comes along with that is the boozing, brawling, at times womanizing, not recently.
Holy
How much of that is mythology?
Well, I've had the odd night on the tipple. I've definitely had a few times in my life where I felt that I need right then and there to fight for my honor or somebody else's. And I do love the ladies, Steve. I mean, what do you expect me to say? You know, I'm married. I'm absolutely married. I have 2 beautiful children, and I hope to have a third one, but probably don't bring that up with the wife just yet, because the second one's all too recent.
Latest is only 11 weeks old.
Yeah, it's probably a little too premature to be bringing up number 3 with her just right now. And, you know, for a lot of that stuff that you're talking about, you know, past is past, you know. I don't have the leisurely time that I used to have to go out with my mates and get on the drink, you know.
After months of loneliness on the set of Master and Commander, Crowe married his longtime ex-girlfriend, Australian actress Danielle Spencer, in 2004. But it would be premature to say he's mellowed. They're making their life in Australia, where Crowe owns a rugby team and a ranch outside Sydney. We wanted to know what he had to say about Hollywood.
You want a one-word answer? Employment.
I want to read you one quote. Of course, you can completely disown it.
It's a quote of mine, is it?
Maybe it's better I don't travel to America. Maybe it's better I don't work in the area of the business that attracts so many flies. That's a little more blunt than you just put.
You got any footage of me walking to the courthouse in Manhattan?
Probably.
That's my answer.
This is the scene Crowe is talking about. The occasion was a court appearance last year in which he entered a plea of guilty to third-degree assault. It followed an incident at the Mercer Hotel in which Crowe threw a telephone at a desk clerk because he was unable to complete a phone call to his wife in Australia.
It was a $160 fine, Stephen. So it wasn't important as 200 press people turning up to a courthouse, was it? You know, trying to bash my wife in the head with their cameras, falling over each other, cameramen jumping on top of each other and trampling each other on the ground. It wasn't that important, man. You know, where I come from, a confrontation like that, as basic and simple as that, would have been satisfied with a handshake and an apology.
But not this time. You're Russell Crowe.
Not in this country.
You're Russell Crowe.
And your legal system is very open to being misused.
How would you characterize that incident?
Minor.
Minor.
You're a traveling man. You've been overseas a lot. Is there a place in your memory bank where you as a travelling businessman have lost your temper in the foyer of a hotel? I'm sure there is.
No, I don't think I've flung a piece of telecommunications equipment. That's the only difference.
Really?
Did you regret this incident at the Mercer
Totally.
Hotel?
Absolutely. Of course I did. You know, it was unreasonable of me, you know, in terms of taking out my frustrations on that individual.
It cost Crowe more than the $160 fine. He reportedly paid the desk clerk a $100,000 settlement to avoid a civil lawsuit, and the incident damaged his reputation. He blamed it on massive jet lag, his disappointment over Cinderella Man, and being separated from his family.
I mean, it's not the first time it's happened, but there have been a number of incidents of,
There's been a number of reports.
number of reports, right?
Yes.
And that's
And the
different.
percentage of real incidents to reports is probably about 10%.
You were doing a play in Australia, and that you headbutted one of your fellow actors, Peter Cousins, and that.
Yes, he was screaming at me at the time. He was calling me all manner of things, and all of the other cast, or the three other principal guys that I worked with, or that I shared a dressing with, were holding my arms. So that's all I had left to hit him with, and he f***ing deserved it.
You. Why are you laughing?
See, can't help myself. Got to tell you the truth.
Okay. You're copying to the argument that you have a temper.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely, man. I have a temper, my mum's got a temper, my brother's got a temper. You got to have one. You know what happens if you don't have one? One day you're walking down the street and you just pop. You're lying there dead on the pavement because you've been holding and suppressing all this bullshit, you know?
I mean, do you think you have some sort of an, I mean, you have a problem with your anger. Do you have a problem with your anger?
No.
No.
No, I don't. You know, if it's, oh, I'm not even going to give you the benefit of answering it in those terms, no. I live a real life, man. It's complex, you know? Some days are absolute diamonds and some days are dog same as everybody else. Unfortunately, some days that are diamonds, I've taken them and turned them into dog But you live and you learn. I'm 42. You know, I'll get wiser.
Crowe says his combativeness comes from his struggle to be taken seriously as an actor, and that cultural differences between Americans and Australians cause people to misjudge him. What he thinks is honest and direct is interpreted as arrogant and rude. And even those who don't like him say his outbursts of anger are often followed by extreme generosity and even contrition.
I don't know, I think I'm just a kid, man. You know, I take everything and people at face value, which probably gets me into trouble a lot because, you know, somebody asks me a question, then I tend to answer it from my heart. And it's not always clever in this day and age, you know, so I'd never make a politician. But, you know, I love the job.
Asked all the questions, got answers to everything, didn't get punched out.
You must be one of the lucky ones, Stephen.
Coming up